Thank you. Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan.
Very much. I do think there's a marketing issue. I think we're all aware of fair trade, but not of the other ones. So we'd hope that that would be something that you would take on. And I was also taken aback when you were intimating that we wouldn't be positive about buying goods in this country, whereas I think the opposite is true. Certainly from my experience, that people are only too willing to support somebody who is working directly and not involving any middlemen, and where it's making a real difference in poverty reduction. There's no doubt we have a changing nature with Africa, or rather an added dimension to our relationship with Africa with the whole trade. But it was alarming to see that import-export imbalance, and I'm just wondering if you had some comments to make on that. And my other question is about what is the biggest expense for people who are producing? And my third one is, what is the relationship with the multinationals? How do they feel about these kind of initiatives? Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the speakers offering. Senator Michael Mullins.
Just briefly, I'd like to welcome Mr. McQueeve as well. Your organisation is obviously it's quite a small organisation, 2 staff and 4 interns. I'm curious, are there other organisations like yourself, promoting African goods in Ireland? Because it's certainly from listening to the comments around the table here, it's no wonder that the balance is 43-1, because really, people, I think, generally would be unaware of, where they can purchase African goods, and certainly the whole concept of getting away from the whole concept of aid and having people, self-sufficient or more self-sufficient is certainly one we all want to support. But I think, we need assistance, and certainly there needs to be a more dynamic marketing strategy to help redress that huge imbalance. And you might just, give us a flavour of, what other products are available, if you like, in the multiples, in the larger stores in our towns and cities, so that we could all have the opportunity to help maybe address that imbalance as we do our shopping on an ongoing basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a wide range of subjects now and plenty of ammunition.
Thank you. Thanks to each of the deputies for your questions. I guess I might start with Deputy Breen's question, because it's to know about us is probably a preliminary to some of the others. We consider ourselves a fair trade organisation in that we are seeking to make trade fairer. So you will know the fair trade label as fair trade, but the trade union movement, the credit union movement, the cooperative movement, each of these, the groups who lobby the World Trade Organization, which I was a number of times before this committee in previous Dáils, when that's my background, is working on the rules campaigning, but also people who watch what the multinationals are doing, what happened in Bangladesh recently, and people who attend to that. All of these are different branches of a movement that is the fair trade movement. So the fair trade movement has a number of different strands, and it's probably the one with the label that's on the chocolate or on the coffee that people identify with most. But all are working together to try to achieve fair trade. And I was in 1996 in Mozambique when I first had the idea for this organisation. I came back and I got a job in Conall and later in Docus, working on the trade rules policy. So that's my background, coming from there, and then getting involved, because while we were working on getting the rules right at the WTO, and I was in Doha and Hong Kong and Cancun and each of these on the processing of those rules, while working to get those right, still African producers, and not only African, other developing countries as well, need support to actually build the business relationships that will result in trade. And so our work is, firstly, identifying producers,